We are undoubtedly living in an age of apathy and distraction. We are so disconnected from each other, not only physically, but emotionally as well, that we have been tamed into caring only about what happens to us, not what happens to people around us. The institutions that used to bind us have been weakened or terminated. What used to bring us together had been weakened. Even the family structure is so weak that it does not have the strength to bind as it used to, especially if you factor in the extended family. And so we don't care about what happens to other people around us. And some of that is by design. There is economic pressure for you to slave from 9 to 5 or take 2 or 3 jobs to be able just to pay the basics for you and your family, which takes most of your time and most of your energy. And whatever is left when you arrive home, you either have other responsibility to take care of, or if you have some free time, they will tell you, let us waste this time for you. Here are streaming services where you can watch as many movies and shows as you want to. And if you are tired and you want a distraction that is different, we have social media for you. Watch mindless streams of videos until you're exhausted, or we will give you attractive and very engaging games that will suck the rest of your time, and that will lead up to the time where you would have to go to bed exhausted, wake up the next day and repeat that cycle. And as long as you are staying home, disconnected, passive, letting us run society and run your life and decide what's going to happen to you, we're happy as long as you are happy and passive. As long as you don't care, as long as you don't react, as long as you do not move, as long as you believe the manipulation of the media and its lies, you keep consuming them thinking that everything is fine, but it isn't. But that is not the way that you and I are supposed to live. Passive, idle, without reactions, without care. In fact, when you go all the way back to when we were created and before, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, إِنَّا عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فَأَبَيْنَ أَن يَحْمِلْنَهَا وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ. He says, we presented the amana to the heavens and to the earth and to the mountains, but they declined it and they were fearful of it, and humans carried it. And what is this amana? It is moral responsibility. Al-awamiru wal-nawahi. Allah's obligations and prohibitions, meaning Allah is telling you, you have to do this, so you say yes. You can't do that, so you say yes, and you carry this on for the rest of your life, and you will be asked about it. This is the amana that every single human being, as a human being, has to carry, must carry, and he carries and she carries, whether they are aware of it or not. And when Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about the people in Jahannam, some of their sins is because they lacked care and responsibility. قالوا ما سلككم في سقر قالوا لم نكن من المصلين. What's the ayah that follows? ولم نكن نطعم المسكين. The people of Jannah في جنات يتساءلون عن المجرمين ما سلككم في سقر. The people of heaven are in heaven asking about the people in hellfire. What brought you into hellfire? So they'll ask him, and the reply will be what? We did not pray. And we did not feed the hungry. Meaning, if you're aware there are people who are hungry around you and you do not care about it, you lack a reaction, you don't feel responsible for them, you're culpable. خذوه فغلوه ثم الجحيم صلوه ثم في سلسلة ذرعها 70 ذراعا فاسلكوه إنه كان لا يؤمن بالله العظيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين. Allah will say to this person, to the angels, take him and shackle him. Throw him into hellfire. Then in a chain, 70 cubits long, shackle him. Why? He did not believe in Allah the Great, nor did he urge the feeding of the poor. And the surah that we all know, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the one who denies the last day? What does he do? What characterizes him? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. It is this person who is harsh with the orphan and does not recommend the feeding of the poor. When you lack a reaction, your iman is lacking. And that's not how you're supposed to be as a human being, nor how you're supposed to be specifically as a Muslim. Isn't it? He said, عليه الصلاة والسلام, من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. It says, if you see a munkar, something that is wrong, change it with your hand. If you can't, change it with your tongue. If you can, at least hate it with your heart. That is the weakest of iman. Now, whom is he speaking to, alayhi salatu wasalam, here? The elites, the governments, the officials, the police, the army. Who is he speaking to? Every single Muslim. Man ra'a minkum, all of you. That is a message from Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam to every Muslim. This is how they were great. And we'll bring the ayah to prove it. So if you see something that is wrong and you can change it with your hand, this thing could be big, this thing could be small, this thing could be personal, this could be familial, could be communal, and you have the ability to change it. And of course, this is not an invitation for chaotic involvement, whether you know or not speak, whether you know or not act. No, you have to know that the wrong thing that you are changing is actually wrong. And if you do not know, ask first. And you have to also know that your reaction is going to be helpful. If it's unhelpful, don't react. لابد أن يكون أمرك بالمعروف بالمعروف ونهيك عن المنكر بغير منكر. When you command the good, it must be in a good way, right? Otherwise, if it leads to more harm, then you have not done your job. And forbidding evil must not be with evil. If it leads to more evil, then you're not supposed to act. So anyway, you change it with your hand if you can. If you cannot, you move to the tongue. And it does not absolve you to move to the second step if you can do the first. And if you cannot do it with the tongue, then at least you resolve in your heart to say, this is wrong and hate it. Once I have an opportunity to speak, I'll speak. And once I have an opportunity to act and remove it, I will remove it. But you don't say, sit back and you say, it's none of my business. It is your business. Why is it your business? Isn't it easier simply to be liked by everybody and not say a thing? Who likes a person who comes and corrects them? Just consider yourself. Somebody comes and tells you, brother, sister, this is wrong. It's not always easy to accept this. So if you want to be liked by everybody, you want to live a simple life, undisturbed, you're not going to say anything to anybody, right? And you'll say, I'm safe. It's not happening to me, it's happening to them. It's not affecting them, it's not affecting me, it's affecting them. As long as there is that distance, I don't have to act. Well, guess what? If you don't say anything, that evil will visit you in your home. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ لَتَأْمُرُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلَتَنْهَوُنَّ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ أَوْ لَيُوشِكَنَّ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَبْعَثَ عَلَيْكُمْ عِقَابًا مِنْ عِنْدِهِ ثُمَّ تَدْعُونَهُ فَلَا يَسْتَجِيبُ لَكُمْ. He says, I swear by the one who has my soul in his hand, you're either going to command the good and forbid the evil, or Allah is soon going to send upon you a punishment, and then you'll supplicate and ask Allah and He will not answer you. You want to understand why we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla and we don't see a lot of answers? Here is this hadith. Did we as an ummah, or as a community, Or you and I as an individual, because I don't want you to say, it's the ruler's fault. I agree with you. Most of the countries of the world today, Muslim or non-Muslim, are being ruled by the worst of us. We're not going to argue this point. Okay, if I'm going to sit and just complain about it in a coffee shop, what have I changed? What changes? Did I do anything positive? No. I'm just complaining, changing nothing in myself or in society, in my community. And I see the munkar, I see something wrong. Not only do I fail to say something about it, I copy it. They lie, I lie. They cheat, I cheat. They transgress, I transgress. They don't care, I don't care. And then I think I'm safe. And I think my kids are safe. My money is safe. My house is safe. And Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, no, you're not safe. A punishment will be sent upon all of you. All of you will feel it. And if we today, at this moment, are not experiencing that, it's just only a matter of time. So you either push back against evil, or evil pushes against you and it consumes you. There are no third options. And that is how this ummah was something. When Allah Azza wa Jalla said, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. You are the best ummah. You are the best ummah that was brought up to humanity. What is the reason that made them the best? You command virtue and speak out or forbid evil. وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. And the scholars have said that is the most distinctive feature of the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is this. That they don't sit idle when they see evil. They react, they change it. And by the way, every and each one of us is responsible. I'm not just talking about the entire ummah. Though you and we need people who will feel responsible for the ummah. We need people who feel responsible for the deen. But each one of us is responsible in one way or in another that is inescapable. He said alayhi salatu wasalam, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ فَالْأَمِيرُ رَاعٍ وهو مسؤول عن رعيته والرجل راع في أهل بيته وهو مسؤول عنهم والمرأة راعية في بيت زوجها وأولاده ومسؤولة عنهم والرجل راع في مال أبيه ومسؤول عنه. He says the prince, the king, the president is a guardian and he's responsible for people under his care. And the man is responsible, a guardian over his family and is responsible for them. And the woman is responsible and a guardian inside her husband's house and his children, and she will be asked about them. And a man is responsible when it comes to the money of his father and he will be asked about it. Each one of us exists in a place of responsibility. What are you? Are you a father? Responsible. Are you a son? Responsible. Are you a wife? Responsible. Are you a neighbor of someone? Responsible. Who lives alone without a neighbor? And he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, لا يدخل الجنة من لا يأمن جاره بوائقه. He says, he will not enter Jannah, he who his neighbor does not feel safe from his harm. أتعقلون? Yeah, do you understand what is being said? I'm just going to live by myself for myself. I don't care if I harm my neighbor or not. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that's an offense that will cause you not to enter Jannah. If your neighbor, Muslim or non-Muslim, really it doesn't matter. If your neighbor does not feel safe from your harm, your insults, your speech, your actions, does not feel safe, this is the bawa'iq. He says, لا يدخل الجنة. This is a big deal. So how you live affects your iman, and your iman affects how you live. And as a Muslim, you're supposed to be connected to everything around you. When you enter the masjid, when you leave the masjid, when you enter any public space, when you enter your home, you're responsible for the people who are around you. See how we are careless. Some of us are careless when it comes to the public welfare. Some of us, we eat something, and once you finish eating it, you toss it out of the car, the wrapper, toss it out of the car, and onto the street. You finish drinking something, the car beside the road, and you drive away, thinking that somebody else is supposed to pick this up. Somebody else is supposed to clean after you. There's no sense of responsibility. There's no sense of care. There's no sense of honor. There's no sense of dignity. How noble is this? How Islamic is this? When you cause somebody else's harm like that, who is supposed to clean after us? When you come into the masjid, any masjid, you're responsible for it. If you see a piece of trash, how many people think outside the masjid or inside the masjid, if I see a piece of trash, I'll pick it up. If not me, then who? Because I want the reward. I feel responsible. I want to make this place better. But if we go with the attitude of, if it's not me, then who? Then entire society collapses. It is said that one of the Ottoman sultans, the Khulafa, sent to one of the Shaykh al-Islam. It's a government official position, a religious council that gives fatwa. And he said, tell me why I see such decay and weakness in the state, despite the promise of Allah Azza wa Jal that we should prevail and be strong. The scholar sent him back, none of my business. So he summoned him immediately and he said, how could you say it's none of your business? This is your position. You're supposed to give the answer. How careless can you be? And he says, I'm not being careless. I gave you the answer. When everybody says from the top to the bottom, none of my business, this is what happens. It is your business. Now I can blame the leader. I can blame his ministers. I can blame the army. I can blame the generals. But what about the population? What about you and me? And I'm not here speaking to those who want to stay asleep. If you're comfortable being asleep, stay asleep. But sooner or later, something is going to wake you up. Guaranteed it's going to be death. That's going to wake all of us up. Oops. يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي. I wish I'd done something for my next life. And at that moment, tell me, what kind of life would you want to say to yourself, I've lived? What kind of life would you want to say this was worth it? Did you just simply live for your stomach, for your entertainment, for worldly pleasure? That's what you lived for. What was the result of your life? And Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, لا تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربع. You are not going to pass, you're not going to move on the day of judgment until you'll be asked about 4 things. And you'll be asked about your life. What did you do with it? عن عمره فيما أفناه. What did you do with all of these hours? What did you do with all of these days and weeks? What? Given to you. What did you do with it? I wasted it all. Great. And you'll be asked about عن شبابه فيما أبلاه أو قال عن جسمه فيما أبلاه, about his youth or about his body, meaning his what? Health. The energy, the strength that he had. What did you use it for? I wasted it. Great. وعن ماله, about his money. Where did you get it from? How did you spend it? This is also a question. And the last one is عن علمه ماذا عمل به. What did you do with what you know? So if you know, it should move you in a different direction. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. Rasulullah عليه الصلاة والسلام told us about a man. مر رجل في طريق فرأى فيه غصنا أو جذعا فقال لأنحينه حتى لا يؤذي المسلمين فأدخله الله الجنة. A man was just walking down a path and he saw a branch or a tree trunk. And see what he said, because that is being responsible. That is feeling the pain of others. He said, I'm going to remove this so it does not harm other Muslims. And Allah put him in Jannah because of it. You see the different attitude. I mean, when I ask you to do this, I'm asking you not to simply just fixate on one thing. The big thing that is happening right now, Gaza, and if we're only going to be responsible or react about this and for this, that is really important, but it goes far beyond that. It's an attitude that is throughout your life. If you see an evil, if you see something wrong, you change it. If it's within your ability, even the small things, because the small things accumulate to become bigger later on. The small things train you to be a reactive person, a person who does the good for the sake of the good. So if you want to go to Jannah, you have to react like that. And of course, today we have with us a charity that is collecting for Gaza. And needless to say, don't have to remind you and tell you about the need that is taking place over there. So if you can support them with your money, support them with your money as much as you can. But I want you also to consider, as much as that this is an important contribution. And I really urge you to think about to give as much or as little as you can. But I want you also to support them with your dua. Because we forgot. So support them with your dua. But also support them with being upright. If you all have a choice between right and wrong in life, consider it as part of supporting Gaza to do the right thing. Because when you do the right thing and you fix you, you can then fix your family. And if families are fixed, communities are fixed, and communities are fixed, the ummah is fixed. And if the ummah is fixed, these things do not happen again. Does that make sense to you? Our weakness is because we are individually weak. Don't deny this. Individually irresponsible, individually apathetic, except for very few, but they are so few, it's hard for them to change anything. Most of us have to change enough of a mass to actually change something. So maybe some of you will hear this and maybe some of you will respond, and I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it the most of you. But even if 1 or 2 or 3, but you actually embrace this, then this would have been worth it. We ask Allah Rabbal Alameen Arhamar Rahimeen to make us of those who do what is pleasing to Him and stay away from what is displeasing to Him. We ask Him Rabbal Alameen to make us of those who carry the responsibility of this religion, the responsibility of this ummah, the responsibility of what is happening to other Muslims and to other humans. We ask Him Rabbal Alameen to make us of those who command the good and forbid evil with their hands and with their tongues and with their hearts. We ask Him Subhanahu Rabbal Alameen to plant Iman firmly in our hearts and make us of those who manifest this Iman in their lives, manifest it in their families and manifest it in their communities. We ask Him Rabbal Alameen to make us of those who follow the sunnah, the example of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and make us of those who love Him internally and externally and follow Him internally and externally. We ask Him Rabbal Alameen Arhamar Rahimeen to forgive us all of our sins. Grant us a sincere repentance. Fix for ourselves our hearts and our bodies. Fix our spouses. Fix our children. Have mercy upon our parents, and fix the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. We ask Him Rabbal Alameen Al-Aziz Al-Hakim Al-Sami' Al-Basir to come to the aid of the people of Gaza and people of Sudan and any other place where people are suffering. Allahumma ansurhum ala man adahum. Allahumma kun ma'ahum wa la takun alayhim. Allahumma at'imhum wa asqihim wa dawi jarhahum warham mawtahum. Allahumma wahfadh ya Rabbi aytamahum wa aramilahum.